What is going on, Washington fans? I am Josh Taylor, and welcome to the Bleacher Report stream here, where I'm going to give you my Week 3 performance grades for the Washington Commanders, which I'm guessing you already know it's not going to be good. Washington goes down, go 2-1 on the season. Looked like we're going to be good to start the season. And then this happens. This was, in my opinion, a reality check. The first two games of the season, you look pretty good. You come from behind against the Broncos, who got blown out historically to the Dolphins. And then you meet the Bills, who are a serious AFC contenders in the NFL. Been to the AFC Championship, duel with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're a good team. And like I said before the game, follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB if you don't already. I said, in my opinion, this is going to be a game that really measures where we are as a team. I said this is a game you're going to go back, watch the tape, and see exactly what was good, see exactly what was bad. And, of course, you meet a good team. You're not, going to – I didn't expect us to win this game, honestly. I know it was at home, but 37-3 is a lot worse than what I expected to see out of this team. So there's a couple of things I'm going to go through. I'm going to give you – there's probably one or two good grades. And there's a lot of bad grades that I'm going to hit on. So I'm going to go through here, have some really cool things to show y'all, have some graphics to pull up, and then also have a clip. I'm going to talk about Sam Howell. Sam Howell is the talk of the week. So far, after the game, everyone's talking about Sam Howell. Are we done with Sam Howell? He's a bust. No. I agree with you. QF7 O-line is an F. You'll see my grades. But I have some polls and I have some media I'm going to drop for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and drop the first poll. And the question is, who gets the worst grade of Week 3 for the Washington Commanders? We have Sam Howell, the offensive line, Antonio Gibson, who I'm going to talk about as well. Absolutely mind-blowing how he's back to his fumbling ways, or the coaching. And it's going to be both sides, offense and defense. There's a lot of bad that I'll talk about for both sides. But first off, I will give you my first grade, and that is going to be on Mr. Wiley. And I've talked about Wiley many of times. If you've been on these streams with me, I have talked about Andrew Wiley. He is getting a D. And it seems like for the third week in a row, he's getting a D. I go back and I just think this was our top free agent signing this offseason. This is the guy who looked so good in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. That second half of the season, he was phenomenal. And I go back to Eric Bieniemy knew this guy. So what's going on with Andrew Wiley? I saw a couple stats. You can talk about Sam Howell as many times as he's been sacked, and I'll talk about how Sam Howell doesn't always help out his offensive line. Cedric, I agree with you. Gibson, tired of putting faith in him, and he's letting me down every time. I get so nervous when Antonio Gibson touches the ball now, and it's sad. And I agree with you. Every QB, Squally Dooley, every QB has bad games, literally. Of them. This is his fourth start against arguably one of the best teams in the league. Give him time to learn, grow, and we all need to chill. And I agree with you. I love Sam Howell. I can't wait to break it down. I have a clip to show you with Sam Howell, though. Just a lot to break down. But Andrew Wiley, he allowed 3 pressures, 1 sack, and 2 quarterback hits. And now they were saying that 5 of the 9 sacks were on the offensive line yesterday. And then the rest of them were about we're just Sam. And I'm going to talk about Sam. Don't worry. But Andrew Wiley, it seems like every single week, this is a guy that's letting me down. And as a guy that's on the outside, it's not his blind spot, thank God. But still, a guy on the outside, that tackle who's supposed to be one of our best, he's supposed to be our best offensive lineman. When you think about what we paid him, going out and getting him, coming over from Kansas City, like I said, Super Bowl team, he looked really good. He's just not living up to it. The best offensive linemen have been our 2 youngest guys, with Sadiq Charles at left guard and Sam Cosmi at right guard. Nick Gates got tore up yesterday, too. Nick Gates had 4 pressures, 2 sacks, 1 QB hit, 1 hurry yesterday. That was his worst game with us. And they said somehow Charles Leno had a flawless day, 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, 0 hurries. I'm not buying that. Not the game I watched. I still not a big fan of Leno. But Andrew Wiley, this is his 3rd week in a row where I'm giving him a D. It just seems like what we, expected out of him. He was my stock faller. If you watched that video last week, I just expected much more out of Andrew Wiley. And what we're getting right now is not the kind of product I expected out of a free agent like that. So right off the jump, like I said, there's not many good grades. There's probably one good grade that I'm giving out from yesterday. But Andrew Wiley is getting the D train rolling because there are some D's in here. And speaking of D's, this one is pretty surprising to me because this is our strong point. The defensive line gets a D yesterday too. And you're like, well, why, Josh? You know, it wasn't all that bad. When you look back and you see what Josh Allen went through, how many times we had a chance to get him down. We had 0 sacks yesterday. And it's not like we weren't in the backfield. It's just like getting off our blocks, we couldn't do it. Their offensive line's pretty good. You know, there's a couple spots where they can improve. Osiris Torrance is a rookie. He's been good so far this year, though. Their offensive line's pretty good. But I expect this defensive line to be dominant against every single team we go against. I think talent-wise, like on paper, this is the best defensive line in the NFL. And they need to show up every single week. So you want to talk about pressures, you want to talk about sacks and stuff like that. Chase Young had 3 pressures, no sacks, no quarterback hits, 3 hurries. Montez Sweat had 3 pressures, no sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 2 hurries. He probably had the best day out of everybody. John Allen, 3 pressures, no sacks, no quarterback hits, 3 hurries. Dron Payne, 1 pressure, no sack, no QB hits, and 1 hurry. So it just wasn't a productive day for the defensive line. They ran the ball against us once again. Seems like something, it's usually been the first half, but James Cook was doing pretty well throughout the whole game. And then you think about these times where Josh Allen was able to run. It's like 3rd downs. He was able to get out of the pocket, create something out of nothing, or just keep it on the ground and run. So 3rd down defense, especially from the defensive line, was really bad yesterday. And that's really surprising to me. So I think yesterday was a good reality check for this defensive line too. Like, you're really good against the Broncos. You stepped up. You created a lot of momentum. You caused, some sacks, some big time plays that really helped get things going. But yesterday we didn't see that. There was not one time in the game yesterday where I was like, all right, I feel this momentum getting there. It wasn't. It was just like Josh Allen's going to do what Josh Allen does all the time, unfortunately. So two straight Ds, Andrew Wiley D, and then the defensive line gets a D too. And I'm going to keep it rolling. I'm going to save Sam Howell for last because that's who I'm going to talk about the longest. But Antonio Gibson, we have a major problem with Antonio Gibson. Cedric Ivey running the ball is the recipe. The play action will set up Sam the best way and moving him out of the pocket. And I agree. And I'll talk more about Sam soon. But you want to talk about running the ball, I don't think we ran enough, with B-Rob yesterday. Not enough touches. That's been the thing we've said every single week so far. Brian Robinson has been the key and one of the best points of this offense. When he has the ball in his hand, whether it's screens or he's running the ball, Brian Robinson gets things going. You saw what he did last week, and he just pretty much abandoned the run. And he even said it after the game, which was really surprising. He said, I wish, obviously as a running back, I would have gotten the ball more. And I agree with him. He should be mad. You want to control a game. You want to take a game over. You start running the ball. You give it to guys like Brian Robinson who can just beat down a defense. Their defensive line was all over the place yesterday. They were eating up blocks. They were getting in the lanes, but still you have to get things going. But with Antonio Gibson, we are missing that complimentary back. And do we have that with Chris Rodriguez? I don't know. I like Chris Rod. I really liked him at Kentucky. I like what I've seen out of him in the preseason. I said it, he was averaging like 4 yards a carry, which was crazy. He was a guy that every time he got hit, he was keeping them legs moving. He was making something out of his opportunities. Every rep he got, he looked good. We haven't seen him so far now. Do you put Curtis Samuel in the backfield more like he did at Ohio State, and he's done a little bit in the NFL? We've seen it. I saw it at training camp. I saw it in preseason. So in my opinion, we're missing that complimentary back. You cannot trust Antonio Gibson running between the tackles. I'm sorry. Every time he's fumbling the ball, it's not out in space. It is when he is literally anywhere in between the tackles trying to make something out of nothing. Last year he really cleaned up those fumbles. I think he only had 1 fumble last year, and the year before that he had 6. Now already he's at 2 in 3 games? You can't have that. And these are big time momentum killers. Like that fumble he had yesterday was at a terrible spot. That really cost us. That left points on the board when we were only down, it was like 2 possessions at the time. Curtis in the backfield is a move that needs to happen. I agree. I think Curtis is really shifty. He's a guy that's not going to fumble it. I'm not saying give him 10 to 15 carries in the backfield, but I want some kind of design runs with Curtis Samuel in the backfield. You have to mix it up. And I said it last week when Sam Howell threw it 30 times in the first half, and I get it, we were down. He kind of had to. But I don't care if this is a passing league. You need to run the ball. And we're going to see it tonight with the Eagles, like they did last week against the Vikings. They leaned heavily on DeAndre Swift, and they leaned heavily on Jalen Hurts running the ball. Even the Chiefs, Pacheco is a really good running back. 7th round pick, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jared McKinnon. They have a running back committee. They rely on those guys to get things going. You can have Patrick Mahomes. You can have Jesus Christ in the pocket throwing the football, but you still need a steady running game going to mix things up for the defense, or they're just going to expect pass way too much, and you're putting your young quarterback in a lot of stress. And we've seen that with Sam Howell. With the Jets falling apart, it probably wouldn't be a huge reach for someone trading for someone like Dalvin Cook. I don't know, because Michael Carter's already pissed off. I'd get Michael Carter, honestly. He was fighting the running back coach at the game yesterday. I mean, New York's falling apart. You got my guy, Broadway Joe Namath's talking about the Jets, saying like they need to just fire people already and stuff. So who knows? I don't think Dalvin Cook is, on the trade block right now. They obviously want to keep him because they went out and got him. But still, like I don't think it's out of reach that they, could add a running back. And people are going to say, what about Jarrett Patterson? What about Jonathan Williams? Like, no, we need, this is what really bothered me is in the draft, I wanted a really good elusive back, like a Raheem Mostert type guy. Devon Chan, you see what he did for the Dolphins. That was a guy who was high on my list. Izzy Abanikanda, who's on the Jets too. He's like their 4th or 5th running back. Go get him. Like, we need an elusive back that can have some kind of like home run playability. Right now, we just have a lot of the same running backs, and then we have Antonio Gibson that fumbles all the time. Carter and Howell played great together at UNC. Yeah, they broke a lot of records. Same with Javonte. If the Denver Broncos start selling, go get Javonte. I don't care what his knees will look like. Good point, by the way. We see that connection. He loves looking for De'Ami Brown all the time. Anyway, so I'm going to go to a positive note. There was one guy that deserves some credit, and he doesn't get enough credit. This is going to surprise some people, but Kendall Fuller is the most underrated player on this entire team. And I tweeted it back in like May. He was I think it was the 15th or 14th highest graded corner in like every category last year. Kendall Fuller, big time interception, great coverage. This is a guy who does not get his roses, and everyone's like, oh, we'll get rid of him next year. Like, he's not even that old. Kendall Fuller is so underrated. And 120 covered snaps so far this season. He's only allowed 5 catches, 26 yards, 1 missed tackle, and he has a almost 90 overall grade on PFF. I'm telling you guys, really appreciate Kendall Fuller. And to be honest with you, St. Juice has been really bad this year. He gave up a ton yesterday, especially against Diggs. He got ate up by Gabe Davis as well. Whenever he was on the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox, he was giving up some catches. So St. Juice was bad. St. Juice has, other than the 2-point conversion that saved the game against the Broncos, he's been bad this season. But I'm telling you guys, Kendall Fuller is such a reliable piece of this defense. I can't remember one game where I'm like, man, Kendall Fuller got killed that game. Like, no. Think about like the Texans game, Cowboys game, the Giants game. Like, this guy has big turnovers. He gets interceptions when we really need them. I'm telling you guys, appreciate Kendall Fuller because he's the most underrated player on this entire team. I think like Kendall Fuller shows up when we need somebody too. How many dropped interceptions have we seen from Percy Butler, Derek Forrest, and even Cam Curl this season? And I know Forbes dropped like 1 or 2 if you want to count that Hail Mary against the Broncos. Kendall Fuller does not drop interceptions. And if he does, like the one where he picked off Dak last year, dropped it, and literally the next play came back and got an interception. And that's nothing. Our safeties have been bad this year too. No one's going to say it, so I'm going to say it. Our safeties have been bad this year. And it's not just because of the dropped interceptions, the coverage bust, big plays over the top. It happened again. Gabe Davis in that same spot where Marvin Mims last week ate us up. So appreciate Kendall Fuller because Kendall Fuller's better than you think he is. All right, so we got D, Andrew Wiley, D, Sam Howell. Let's take a look at the poll. I got some more for y'all. Sam Howell 36% of the worst grade week 3, 57% said the offensive line, and rightfully so. Antonio Gibson got a vote, and no for the coaching. I'm surprised. I'm going to talk about coaching next. But I'm going to go ahead and give y'all another poll because I'm going to be talking about coaching next. What grade do you give coaching on both offense and defense? You can put it together. You can average it out, whatever. A B, C, D, or F. And like I already said, I think offensively, when you want to talk about coaching, I'll go ahead and start talking about Eric Bieniemy. I gave him a C. Why? Because I think not all of it is on him. Yes, there's going to be a lot that has to do with Sam Howell's development and stuff like that. Let's see. The running backs are not the problem, with the exception of Gibson continuing to fumble the freaking ball. The offensive line is the biggest problem and had been the problem for the longest time. Shannon, I agree with you more than you know. The offensive line has been an issue since we lost Trent Williams. And I don't even care about losing Brandon Sheriff because he was hurt all the time. Let's see. Jay Ferguson 28 said, I want to see Quan Martin in the slot. Tired of seeing every second round pick on the bench. Yeah, he's been banged up when he had the concussion. He's been coming back from. Honestly, we should see him back next week against the Eagles. I'll be pretty bummed if he doesn't play. If he's inactive again, I'm looking at Ron like, what are you doing with our second round picks, guy? But Eric Bieniemy, I talked about abandoning the run, and I get it last week when you're down so much against the Broncos, you really can't. But it seems like when Brian Robinson has the hot hand, he just doesn't want to feed him. But the thing I do love about Eric Bieniemy is he's not afraid to keep calling things up for Sam Howell, even if he's throwing interceptions, even if he looks bad. He's like, Sam, you got to learn from this. He's not going to like dumb it down or pull him out and put Jacoby in, which they could have easily done yesterday. He wants Sam Howell to learn through it all, through the fire. He wants him to just go through it and learn from it, which I like. I have no problem with that. The play calling, when I watched the All 22 this morning, and I'll show you a clip that I found. Some of y'all probably seen it on Twitter already. The play calling is there. Like when you want to talk about concepts, you want to talk about guys getting open. Jahan is open. Terry's open. There's things, Cole Turner did a good job getting open yesterday too. And Sam Howell has to get to those progressions. He has to learn to get through those. He's just not doing it. So I think Eric Bieniemy, yes, has been really good. But yesterday, I think he got away from the running the ball too much. But then at times, he's doing a good job with Sam. I know yesterday was Sam's worst day probably ever as a Washington quarterback. But overall, I think I think Eric Bieniemy is doing a good job with him, being that mentor with them, but also not giving up on the guy. It's like, look, you made a mistake. We're gonna keep calling the same plays. I'm gonna let you learn from this. So shout out to Eric Bieniemy for that. Once again, I think we should run the ball more though. That's why I gave him a C. But Sam Howell, let's talk about Sam. We gotta talk about Sam. Polls, what grade do you give the coaching? D got the majority, 55%. F got 27%. I'm not mad at it. And then 18% for the C. No one said B, of course. So let's talk about Sam. Got about 10 minutes or so left on the stream. So I want to talk about Sam probably for the rest of the 10 minutes because that was ugly. That was really bad. What grade do you give Sam Howell? I didn't put an A or a B because that's not even a real, possibility. C, C minus, D, or F. 4 interceptions, 9 sacks. That's as bad as it gets. I didn't give him an F though. No one got an F, surprisingly. I gave him a D because I saw him make some mistakes, but he was still making those throws where you're like, okay, he's bouncing back. He dropped that dime on the left sideline. Who was it? Curtis Samuel. It was after like 2 interceptions. So that's the one thing I like about Sam. He can make things happen with his feet. You saw that when they were getting in the red zone. He was, running the ball, taking too many hits though. So there's some really good with Sam, but yesterday we saw the really bad. And Bills players were talking about it, saying like it seemed like after that 2-second mark, Sam Howell just kind of tucked it and, just does the Justin Fields, which it's sad to say, but just kind of ducking and trying to avoid the pass rush coming and just kind of, fall into the pocket, which you can't do. He has to learn to get out of the pocket, make things happen, and let the wide receivers kind of extend the play, roll out, buy yourself some time, let the wide receivers buy some time to make a big play for you. Stop tucking it and running as much as you do, and stop taking sacks. It's something he did at North Carolina, and it's a thing that was heavily scouted. Sam was probably one of the guys I looked at the most scouting wise, more than any other player. Like, I love Sam Howell's tape. That is something him and Malik Willis both did so much. They took way too many hits. They took too many sacks, and it was sacks that they kind of created. And that's something he's got to be better at. But I do have a video of Sam Howell, a play that really stands out. And I'm going to talk about this one. I'm going to show you the tape, let it play out, and then I'm going to talk through it. So this is the play where he kind of just overthrew it to Cole Turner in the back of the end zone. This is the one you've probably seen on Twitter, where Jahan Dotson is wide open. Everyone's like, where's Jahan Dotson at? Where is he at? All right, so he's down here in the bottom. There's little trips. He's in the middle here of the three wide receivers. And you can see right here, like, he is literally wide open right there at the edge of the end zone. Now, the thing about this play is that Sam, they did this last week and it worked. And I'm going to talk about it. So you see Jahan wide open right there. Sam just doesn't go through his progressions. He locks on to Cole Turner, I want to say it was. Yes, Cole Turner. And just overshoots it. So you can see it from this angle where you can really see his eyes. So, like, right now he's reading the defense, seeing where everybody's going. And he's just locked on to Cole Turner, waiting, and throws it across the middle. Now, if you go back, and I actually broke this down on Twitter sometime last week, the Logan Thomas touchdown. So on the right side, you had Jahan Dotson, who went out and did like a little whip route, which is like, if you're, say he's lined up in the slot or even on the outside, you're running to the inside and you just cut back to the outside. And Logan Thomas went across the middle. This is where he got hit really hard by Kareem Jackson. And it worked last week. But the thing is, there wasn't this extra linebacker in the middle there, or safety, whoever that is, in the middle of the end zone waiting. So he wants to feed once again. So you have Gibson this time who's going out, who doesn't really do much to really draw the zone away. So last time, this linebacker that you see at the edge of the end zone there, last week, he ate because he saw Jahan do the whip route and cut back outside. So he followed Jahan. And Sam Howell actually looked off to the right like he was going to Jahan, but he knew the whole time he was going to Logan Thomas. So he came back, threw it across the middle. His eyes and Jahan Dotson's route opened up the middle for him. It doesn't happen this time. But he's still, like, in the back of his mind saying, it worked last week, it's going to work again. We're doing the same concept, even though Gibson's not really doing much of a whip route or anything. He's kind of just sitting there like a little check down. But this guy in the middle over there where you see like the N and the Commanders in the end zone, that guy last week was farther off. He was at like the beginning of the A, maybe the M. And that's where Kareem Jackson came in and hit Logan Thomas. But in the back of Sam Howell's mind, he's saying to himself, okay, it worked last week. I'm going to go back to it. It's going to be there. I just have to let Cole Turner get open. He's a bigger guy. He's tall. He can go up and get it. He's really good at that. But you can tell right now it's not there. There's nothing in this play right here that says, all right, Cole Turner's going to be open. So what he needs to do is go through these progressions and say, Gibson, out, done. Cole Turner, out, done. And then if he keeps going through his progressions, he's going to see Jahan Dotson sitting there right there in the end zone, just waiting to walk in for a touchdown. And people are like, where's Jahan? Jahan hasn't done anything. Josh, you told me Jahan was going to be crazy this year. I don't want to tell you how much money I have on Jahan Dotson over 4.5 touchdowns this year. That's a lot, because this is the plays that you're going to see out of Jahan Dotson, but Sam has to do a better job of getting there. Jahan Dotson's there waiting. Like, literally, this guy, this corner, is probably like, what the heck? Like, thank God Jahan Dotson didn't get the ball, because that's an easy touchdown. But I'll show the second view once again. You see Sam Howell's eyes are just locked on to Cole Turner. That's something he has to be better about. He's telling the defense where he's going to go, and the defense has even said it after the game. That is something that they noticed. After like 2 seconds, he folds, and he just abandons the play, and he'll tuck it and go, or he'll just take a sack and just kind of collapse in the pocket. Or he locks on to where he's going to go and doesn't go through his progressions. I need to see like a 1, 2, 3, 4 progression. Things I see guys doing in the league right now, like CJ Stroud starting to do it 3 weeks into his career in the NFL. So that's something that Sam really has to learn. And it's still like, this is a complex offense. This is probably one of the more complex offenses in the NFL. That's good. Let's see some Sam. Sam does like Terry or Jahan, only Turner, Logan, man. It seems like, and I get it, like your tight ends, especially in a West Coast offense like this, tight ends are key, which is why I wanted like another tight end in the draft if we did lose Logan. But we kept Logan, and Logan's been good, but obviously he's hurt right now. I think there's a lot of upside to Cole Turner as well. Let's see. Not worried about Sam, says Jay Ferguson 28. After the beating he took, he'll start getting to that check down faster and throwing it away. It's all part of the development process. All the great ones went through it. He'll get going. Absolutely. And you want to talk about, Josh Allen, his first 3 years in the NFL, he was bad. He was making a lot of mistakes that Sam Howell's doing. Now, am I saying it's going to take Sam Howell 3 years to get there? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Sam has shown that special stuff that he can do. He's shown the arm talent. He's shown the ball placement. He's shown really good things. He just has to clean this up. This is a big problem, the taking the hits, taking the sacks, forcing these. And, the one that I'm really not even mad at, the last one where he's like trying to roll outside. I forgot who it was, but just jumped up right in front of him and got the interception. Like, it was there. Like, I seen what he was trying to do. It's just one of those bang, bang plays. Or those other plays where he's trying to force things down the field or like 3rd and long and stuff like that. And it's just like, we're in good field position where he can do it. I'm not that mad at that. I respect it. Guys like Josh Allen do it all the time. And once again, Josh Allen throws some stupid balls sometimes. They get picked off a little more than, the coaches would love for him to throw. So I get it. There's a lot for Sam to learn. Give him some time. Yes, it was ugly. That's probably as ugly as it's going to get. I don't think it could get worse than that, which is good. Like, he knows what that's like now. He knows what that feels like. And you heard Ron talk about it today. They're going to go back. They're going to look at the tape. They're going to look at the offensive line. They're going to look at Sam Howell and see what he did and see, who was to blame for the sacks. It's a 50-50 thing. The offensive line isn't helping Sam, and Sam's not making their job easy on plays too. So you got to help each other out, both Sam and the offensive line. And I said it yesterday on Twitter. I'm not going to be so harsh on Sam, one, because he's a rookie essentially this year, and two, because I haven't seen consistent good play out of the offensive line to say, yeah, because when Sam does have time like he did last week, he can throw that ball. He can sling it, and that's what we saw. Now against really good teams like the Bills, like the Eagles, who we'll see next week, that's where you're really going to get tested. That's really where you're going to see what Sam has. How can he bounce back? What's he going to do against that Philadelphia Eagles defense? I'm excited to watch Philly tonight because Tampa Bay hasn't been that bad. We'll see what they can do with Mike Evans. They're moving some pieces around. Bradbury's getting sent to the slot because Maddox got hurt. He's out for a while, if not the whole season. I forgot what he tore his pec or something. So we'll see what Philadelphia looks like in the secondary. But we have to, one, get better protection from the offensive line. Two, not abandon the run like we have been. Feed Brian Robinson early and often. Set the tone in the trenches. You want to give your confidence to your offensive line? Let them hit some guys in the run game and not just be giving up sacks in the passing game. I'm telling you guys, if you start running the ball earlier, get them guys really just finishing, pancaking some blocks. Get them hyped up. Get them motivated. And just run the ball at people's throats and just get things going. It'll open up, one, the RPO, the play action for Sam, but it just creates so much behind it in the passing game. So let's see. This O-line needs to get blown up and entirely replaced. These guys are all backups on any other team. I will say Nick Gates really let me down yesterday, but Sadiq Charles and Sam Cosmi have been really, really good. Let's see the grades for Sam Howell. We got majority 64% saying D and 27% saying F for Sam. I'm not mad at it. I think either one of those is good. But I will say only reason I didn't give him an F is because one, he's a rookie. Two, it was the Bills. If you would have done that against the Cardinals or somebody, that I'm hitting the panic button. But I'm telling you guys, that Bills defense is really good. A lot of underrated guys. Poyer, Hyde, Tre'Davious White's underrated. Their defensive line has a bunch of guys you don't hear a bunch about. But once again, Ed Oliver does not get the credit he deserves. Kind of like I said with Kendall Fuller, he's so underrated. But we'll see. Rivera in 4 years have never really upgraded the offensive line. They haven't. And I said this. I'll end on this. Oh, wait. Who would you prioritize for extensions? Montez Sweat's number one. First off, Montez Sweat's been number one. Second, Cam Curl, but Cam's got to play better this year too. Cam, I'm not going to lie, he has a lot of tackles and stuff like that the first 2 games he did. But coverage-wise, there's been some plays where I'm like, come on, Cam. And then yesterday against the Bills, he was pretty bad too. But Cosby's been good since he's been at right guard. He's been one of our highest graded offensive linemen. Sadiq Charles was last week, but the other 2 weeks, Sam Cosby's been the highest graded offensive lineman. He's been like top 3 on PFF for our whole offense every game so far. So Sam Cosby's been good. I'm telling you guys, like, go back, watch the tape. Sam Cosby's been good. Sadiq Charles has been good, which surprised the heck out of me. I was so low on Sadiq Charles. But Nick Gates got 8 up yesterday. That's what's killing me, these veteran guys. And then I said yesterday, you look at what the Texans did for CJ Stroud. They went out and they made that offensive line a priority. They added about 5 or 6 quality guys this season that have all started at some point. They have some injuries right now, and their offensive line still looks better than ours. They had like 3 or 4 backups playing yesterday. They traded for Josh Jones late. They've drafted guys. They drafted Kenyon Green in the first round last year. They got Kendrick Green this offseason. They've just added a ton of guys. Shaq Mason. Like, they went out and got some heavy hitters on the offensive line, and it's going, the distance for CJ Stroud right now. Like I said, they're playing with backups right now, and they look much better than we have on the offensive line, which is sad. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Obviously, the Eagles, the big one. One, because it's, Philadelphia. It's at Philly. Some reason we always play good in Philly. I don't know why. But that's going to tell us a lot about this team. It's going to tell us a lot about the culture. It's going to tell us a lot about the locker room, the players, where they are at. Like, you get beat this bad. It's your alumni game. You're at home. I get it. The rain sucked again like it did week 1, whatever. You got beat. Like, that was embarrassing. That was bad. It wasn't losing to the Cardinals bad. Like, we didn't give up 70 points bad. But it's up there. It still hurts to see that. So this game's going to tell us a lot. Like, can we compete in the NFC East to where we can get into the playoffs? Because there's a good opportunity to make the playoffs this year. Like, if we can get things going, I told y'all, bold predictions, the Vikings were not going to make the playoffs. There's some NFC teams that are supposed to be pretty good that aren't looking that hot. There's some bad ones that are looking better than expected. So if Washington can get things going, I think that there's still a chance. Like, the season's not over. That was bad. The Bills are really good. Like, if the Chiefs were to beat us that bad, like, are we going to just say, are we going to expect, like, the season's just over? No, absolutely not. And no, I'm not going to do the handlebars. Straight stash, that's it. And shout out to Travis Kelce, by the way. Stash Gang is up by a lot of points right now. That's our leader, Travis Kelce, leading it. Full-on police officer stash that he got. But I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all next time. Like I said, I'll be doing a stream after the Eagles game, talking about what was good, what was bad, just kind of like a fresh reaction as soon as the game ends. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB. Follow me on YouTube, JTFB, where I'll be doing some more breakdown videos and stuff like that. I'll upload this video on there and do some more for y'all. So I will see y'all next time. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to participate in all of your fantasy contests, whether it's the NFL, MLB, PGA Golf, NBA, even college football. This user-friendly app, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. And my favorite part is that when you sign up in your first deposit and you use my promo code JTFB, they will double your first deposit up to $100. Now, how does it work? You pick lower or higher on stat projections that Underdog Fantasy gives you, whether it's passing yards, rebounds, points, you name it. And for each selection, say you want to select 3 people or 4 people, your odds go up based off of how many you select. My favorite feature, however, is sometimes I want to make 4 selections and I'm not feeling too confident in all of them. I love taking advantage of the pick'em insurance to where if I miss one pick in my contest, I still get paid out on lower odds. So sign up today, download the app, and use my promo code JTFB to get up to $100 in your first deposit.